The Leading Edge Cricket Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast, podcast number 35, and it's a historic day in world cricket. Not only are Ireland playing their first ever test match, it is 100 YouTube subscribers, 100 Twitter followers for the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast. It's a quick raise of the bat to all four corners of the ground as we get a head down and we look to the next milestone. Dan, I am Rob, one half of the Leading Edge Cricket Podcast, joined as always by my co-host Rich.
Hey Rob, what's going on?
Not a lot. We're playing the waiting game. We've kind of discussed offline with baby number one en route. We are sitting tight, bunkering down, and cooking bulk meals.
Bulk meals, like it. Very sensible.
Very meals. Sensible. There's probably, the wife's done very well. She's maternity leave has treated her very, very well. And she's probably got about 60 meals frozen in the freezer, mate. And it's epic. If I'm like, I'm hungry. No, don't touch them. They're for when the baby comes.
My good. Are you basically knocking on neighbours' doors and just saying, excuse me, I'm just going to come and use your freezer?
We're almost at that point. We're two freezers full. And,
elbowing out the way.
Yeah, unfortunately, mate, you know, these things, they're great, but things come at a loss, and there's no room for ice cream on the weekly shop at the moment. So, you know, there's a few tears.
Disgrace.
Absolute disgrace. Right, kicking into question of the week, Rich, and you are 1-8.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm still giving you plaudits for the one. I'm still happy with
I can't even remember what the last question was.
Okay, so luckily I've wrote this down. So the question is, whose bat did Shahid Afridi use when he scored the fastest one-day international 100 at the time, 37 back in 1996? You said MS Dhoni.
Did I? Shahid Afridi? No, I said the hack.
You said Inzamam or Hack. MS Dhoni is what you said the week prior. Good job I write this down.
Come on, this is why I'm 1-8. You're going against me. You're trying to make out I did some, I didn't say it. It's not fair.
Farcical on my behalf. But the actual answer is, here we go. Shahid Afridi was flown into play for Pakistan again in the West Indies against Nairobi in 1996 and didn't have a proper bat to use. No idea what he brought with him. It might have been a blue bat. I've no idea. That's when Wacky Yunus gave a young Shahid Afridi Sachin Tendulkar's bat. Afridi hit 11 sixes and 6 boundaries with a bat and scored a 37-ball century against Sri Lanka, which was then the fastest one-day century. The record was later broke by Corey Anderson.
Of course, obviously.
And then it's been broken by A.B. de Villiers, and it now sits at 31. So, Rich, unfortunately, you go to 1-9, but the Inzamam guess was as educated guess as what there is on the park, really, because some of them have been so hard, whereas this, it was narrowed down to a Pakistani.
Yeah. Did anyone get it right?
Nobody.
Just out of interest.
Absolutely nobody got it right.
Good. I'm glad about that.
I'm good. You're all as bad as me. We're all on the same playing field.
Yeah, too right. I want everyone to sink to my level.
I like it, mate. Let's kick straight into it. Bit of cricket news.
Yeah, let's go to the Aussies. A little bit of chat coming from over there. So Cam Bancroft, we all know who Cam Bancroft is. Banned Aussie, we'll just refer to him as that. Well, he's been cleared to play for his club side Willerton in Western Australia. It's quite amusing, actually. That it was always the case that he was going to be allowed to play state cricket, or not state cricket, sorry. What do you call it? Grade cricket in Australia. Yep. That was part of it. He's banned from playing first class, obviously, but he was allowed to do that. But Western Australia, they've got some club regulations that state that any players banned from playing for the state side are also banned from playing in Perth Premier Cricket. So Cricket Australia didn't really think about this when they dished it all out. So they had to have a meeting. But the clubs voted 14-2 in favour of waiving this stipulation, and they've actually allowed Bancroft to play. So regardless of the issues over the last week or the farce with that, good move for Bancroft and for Australian cricket. It's going to allow Cam Bancroft to repay his debt or start to repay his debt and start to rebuild his reputation.
Yeah, top move. We've spoken about it a few times, this whole sandpaper gate and the Bancrofts and Warners of the world on the podcast. It's a recurring theme. It's like a bad nightmare. But this is definitely a good choice, and we've both stated it on the podcast. All we want to see them do is go and repay the debts to cricket, see where they came from, forget all the lights and razzmatazz of T20 and Test cricket from around the world. Cricket's a game mostly played by amateurs, or at the top level, some guys that we played in amongst the amateur ranks, and it's good for them to go and rehab at that level to kind of get the sense of what cricket's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So staying down under, Mark Waugh, the famous Australian living in his shadow of his brother batsman, he's agreed to give up his role as a national selector. The reason for this is he's been appointed now as a commentator for Fox Sports. So they're the guys that are doing a lot of the cricket now, if you remember from the New Deal. So obviously there's a potential conflict of interest at that point. So it meant it was best for all parties if Waugh stepped down. He's still going to be involved while the Aussies play limited overs in England, so they'll be able to blame him for any bad selections. But he's going to be replaced by the time the Australian summer comes back around.
Wow. It's a bit of a shocker, isn't it? He's lined up his ducks before they've actually come to play. So 100% here, he's taking care of number one, and he's going, okay, I'm not going to be a selector for the rest of my life. Got the opportunity to go and do some commentary. It pays well, great lifestyle. Fair enough. Go and do it. He's one of the safest slippers that I've ever seen play the game, and I've no doubt that Mark Waugh has made the safest decision, and he's not going to fumble it.
Absolutely. I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere.
Oh, somewhere along the line.
Right, there's a lot of cricket going on at the moment. There's Championship cricket, obviously. We've got IPL bubbling up nicely. But the big cricket, Rob.
The big cricket.
Ireland, Pakistan. This is what it's all about this week.
Top of the morning.
All eyes should be on Malahide. Slightly offensive. History has been made. We all know this now. Ireland, they are now a test-playing nation.
Good.
It finally got underway once the rain allowed the test to begin on the second scheduled day. They found it tough going, but they've shown plenty of grit, plenty of talent coming through now. They're certainly shown they can hold their own on the international stage. So just before we get into what's been going on in this game, obviously today is the final day of that first test. But we've seen international test debuts given to Imam ul Haq and Fahim Ashraf for Pakistan, and all 11 players for Ireland have made the debut.
It's a lot of new caps.
So I'm not going to go through that. How do they work it out? Does the captain get number one, or does the opening batsman get number one? Or if they took to the field first, does the opening bowler get number one?
I think it's whoever goes over the line first. It's a race.
They have a race. I'd like to see that. So shall we have a little look at what's been going on in that test? I think we should as well. So, right, as I say, rain washed out the first day. Bit anticlimactic, wasn't it? But we finally got underway. And Pakistan got stuck in, 310 for 9 before they declared. Notable scores, Asad Shafiq at 462. A lot of starts, but then as we get further down the order, Shadab Khan, 55, and Fahim Ashraf, 83. So, Ireland made a good start. They had Pakistan 13 for 2. But Pakistan showed their class, batting down the order and put a decent score on. In response, it wasn't the best of first innings ever for a test-playing nation. But a lot of countries in their first tests have made pretty ordinary scores. Some have done pretty well, but a few have done similar to this. So the only real notable was Kevin O'Brien. This is somebody that looks like he should have been playing Test cricket a while ago with how he's played in this game. He got 40. Gary Wilson batting down the order due to a bit of an arm. I think it was an arm problem. He got 33, not out. Gritty little knot from him. But yeah, lots of disappointment. Andy Balbirnie, we'll mention him again in a second because he got a duck along with Niall O'Brien. So following on, Ireland, this is where they've really shown it. They've gone, all right, we know what we're talking about now. 319 for 7. They have a lead, Rob, of 139 with 3 wickets remaining.
Nice.
They're going to make Pakistan earn this win, aren't they?
They definitely are.
Yeah, and just looking at it, Ed Joyce, bless him, he's one of the old ones. We say the 14th oldest test debutant of all time. He got himself 43. Disappointing not to get himself a century, was run out. Will Porterfield, the captain, 32. Decent or not. Andy Balbirnie, a duck again. Pair on debut, not what he wants. Niall O'Brien, 18. Sterling, 11. Gary Wilson, 12 again. Thompson, 53. Well battered him. I think Stuart Thompson, the bowler. But Kevin O'Brien, he's on 118 not out. First ever centurion for Ireland in Test cricket. He also currently has the highest average in Test cricket history.
Good man.
So he needs to retire.
He does retire on a high.
Yeah, so just quickly, just to mop up, just give credit to all forms of the game. Mohamed Abbas 4 for 44 and Mohamed Amir 2 for 9 off 10 overs in the first innings, as well as Shadab Khan 3 for 31. And in the second innings so far, we've had success for Mohamed Amir again, 3 for 57 off 25 overs. Good spell for him, considering he's a bit of a crock these days. And Mohamed Abbas 2 for 54. Should also be noted as well, Mohamed Amir, he's gone over 100 Test wickets as well, so well done for him. It's taken a while.
Yeah, it has a bit of a delay in the middle. In fact, Kevin O'Brien sent a tweet out saying it's his first century, first class level and above century in 7 years.
Wow.
What a way to go and make your Test debut and, not score 100 for so many years and then be able to do it on the big stage. I think day one was rained off. Day two, Ireland gave a really good account of themselves, and it's kind of what we expected with this Irish team. We look at it with people like Tim Murtagh and Boyd Rankin, and you go, oh yeah, the bowling's not too bad, the seamers are pretty good. Boyd Rankin caused problems with his height. You can tell he's lost a few yards of gas over the last few years since he was in the England, set up a few injuries into his 30s. But Tim Murtagh just looks the out-and-out county journeyman on a length, do a bit with it each way, and he's playing in the perfect conditions. It's a wet Irish ground, and there's nothing more suited to his bowling than that.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's been nice to see. I've not been able to watch as much as I'd like to, but I'm going to hope to watch a little bit today. And it's just nice to see that they are actually holding their own now.
Yeah.
That it could have been, with that first innings, you just started thinking, oh, this is a bit embarrassing for them, bless them. But they've overcome, haven't they? They've regrouped, they've got their heads down. And, the bowling was always going to be that they're okay bowling. 310 for 9, that's a pretty good effort. It was the batting that they needed to really dig in with, and they've shown they can hold their own. People are making, even the 30s and 40s will give them confidence that they can actually perform at this level, and and roll on. I mean, it took Sri Lanka how many tests? Years. Bangladesh were the same. Yep. Lots of nations have taken a long time to really hit the strides in Test cricket. So it's brilliant. And roll on Afghanistan when they make their debut soon in India.
Yeah, it'll be awesome to see. I've got to talk about Iman Haq though.
Do we?
We do need to talk about Iman Haq, and I don't know whether you've seen this. So he set a world record in the first innings.
I did not see this. Is this the longest first ball in Test cricket?
The longest first ball in Test match history. He called through for a single. He was off strike, and he got taken out the knees by one guy, got a knee to the head from the other guy, and just lay there unconscious on the field.
Brilliant.
It was absolutely superb. Poor lad got back up on his feet, and he'll be looking forward to having another bat. Obviously failed on Test debut in the first one. I've just got to say, Mohamed Abbas was a different class above everyone else from what I saw with the ball. Obviously, I didn't watch all 90 overs, but I've watched every day. I've watched some, and he just looked a different level to anything else that was on the field. And him and Mohamed Amir, very, very good opening partnership. Shabad Khan, we know his name from the PSL. He picked up 3 for 31, so that's good for him. It's only his second ever Test match. But if Ireland can go through and score another 60 or 70 today, you never know. If Ireland are ever going to win a Test match, right, to start with, early doors, it's not going to be by scoring 500. It's going to be by defending 200 on a wet green Irish wicket. And this could be something special.
Yeah, if they can bat up till lunch and then they've got 2 sessions to bowl the Pakistanis out, then you never know, do you?
Bit of pressure does wonders.
Exactly. So we shall summarise that, see how it finished, obviously, next time we sit down and have a chat. So, moving on to England, the next opposition for Pakistan. We're getting close to a Test match squad being announced for England. It's actually 3 p.m. today, so by the time this podcast comes out, we will see if we've been right or not. We're basically putting our teams in an envelope shortly, in an electronic envelope in the form of a podcast that will then be saved on the World Wide Web, and then you'll be able to open it after the squad has been announced, and we'll see if we're right or not.
Brilliant.
But one player that's not going to be involved is Jack Leach, the absolute dishcloth, a colloquial term for an idiot. He's broken a bone in the thumb of his bowling hand during doing some fielding drill. So well done, Jack. It's not like England have got so many spinners that were just banging on the door, aren't they? Mature spinners. Or maybe not. So Jack Leach, he's going to miss the test. We've got Moeen Ali playing in the IPL, and I can't remember the last time we saw a red ball. Mason Crane's injured. So we're going to look in a little while after we've done the rundown of the recent county championship games. But where do England turn? I mean, we've got 3 names here. We can't think of anyone else. Like you said before we came on, is there a James Treadwell? Is Gareth Batty still alive? Who else is out there? I mean, Samit Patel, who are they going to turn to? So we've got 3 young fellas that we think could be in the conversation. But God knows when it comes to England. They'll probably just call Moeen Ali back up. So just 3 names here. We'll just touch on briefly and then we'll get into a bit more detail shortly. So Matt Parkinson, Lancashire. Amar Verdi, 19-year-old from Surrey, and Dominic Best from Somerset. What do we do, Rob? Where do they go?
I'm not sure. Before we came on, I was going through and we'll touch on our teams that we want to see, and I wrote down Leach as the spinner, and then I'm not quite sure who else if he's injured, and he is injured. And some of the names that I wrote down associated to that, a couple of them nostalgia for the old school English fans. I wrote down Ian Salisbury. I wondered what he's doing.
Yeah, I'll do.
Yep, you never know. I can remember England picking him in the Ashes because they had Shane Warne. Well, we've got Ian Salisbury. Bowled halfway down for 3 or 4 tests. I wrote down Kerrigan. Don't think he's going to be involved. Samit Patel's not going to play cricket for England at test level ever again. And I can't see them.
Samit.
Yeah, he doesn't fit the mould, does he? He's his own mould.
Well, it's not on. It's not on. He should be. There's no reason why he shouldn't be. He's a steady bowler now, and if Moeen Ali was allowed to be used as a test bowler, then Samit's certainly on a par with that, in my opinion. But he's not going to get it, is he?
He's not.
It's just simple as that.
And the other one was Gareth Batty, and the reason I wrote Gareth Batty down is because I was watching some highlights from Brian Lara's 400 in the Caribbean, where Gareth Batty kept disappearing over the stands. So I was all out of ideas, Rich, and you put together these 3 good names, good young names, for us to take a look at. So we've got Matt Parkinson, who's playing at Lancashire at the moment, who's doing all right for himself. You've put down here, he did well in the winter, the Lions and the North versus South game, and he's got a steady start to the season with 8 wickets. Now, the thing that there's going to be a recurring theme between the 3 spinners we're going to talk about, they're all young and they're all fairly inexperienced at county level, which causes some problems. So Parkin's only played 12 games, got 35 wickets, which is very, very good, at an average of 26, 2 fifers in that. So that's pretty good for a 21-year-old, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he got 8 wickets in the game versus Somerset recently. So I mean, he's got 1 or 2 more wickets for the season, but he didn't play in the last round, which we'll see on in a minute. So he gives it a shout. I think he can hold his own with a bat. I think the Verdi one is difficult because Verdi is the exceptional spinner this summer, but he's a definite number 11.
Yeah.
So we're always concerned with England. England would rather see a lesser bowler who's a slightly better batsman rather than going for the right bowler, let's say. They're always worrying about their tail, aren't they?
Yeah, they definitely are. And it's hard to know what they're going to do with other selections and who's going to be independent if they can take a risk on someone like Verdi, who only brings one dynamic aspect to the game. He's not a multifaceted player, is he?
No.
But he's definitely the spinner who's performed the best this year.
Yeah, but then there is that's that kind of argument, though, isn't it? It's like, well, what do you want? Do England want to put in that relative, lesser bowler, that safer bet, but he can bat, like a Moeen Ali, for example?
Yeah.
Or do you want to actually give a bowler a chance that actually is exceptional, looking exceptional, but he doesn't really offer you the other side? So it's that balance off, isn't it? It's like, well, what do you want? Do you want ordinary, lots of average, or do you want 1 exceptional and 1 poor?
I think you've got to look at the history of the England team over the last year or last 2 years and go, how many times has this top order really performed? How many times has it collapsed?
Very true.
And that is, I think that's going to be the basis on how they make that decision. So many times we've seen Bairstow, Wokes, Broad come down, score some runs down the order to save what's a failing top order. And if there wasn't the holes in the top order, I think it's an easy decision and you take Verdi. However, in my eyes, and I think we spoke on the podcast about it, I'd love to see him picked in a year's time. Just give him another year of county cricket. Just keep developing the guy.
I think that would be the case, but obviously with Leach being out, it's suddenly buggered everything up. With Moeen Ali being woefully out of form with bat and ball, it's thrown that open, hasn't it? Dominic Bess, he's the other guy. Somerset, he's another spinner at Somerset. Obviously Leach is there as well. Now he's only took 1 wicket so far in the two championship games, but he did hit 92. Yeah. So it suddenly makes me wonder. I wonder if they'd prefer to go with Bess because then they can bat him at 8. And this is kind of what I'm saying. And Verdi, I agree with you. Like, I don't want to put these guys in too soon, but we're in a position where we need a spinner. And England's selection, one, we should not be looking at the failures of the top order when we're deciding on what bowlers to pick. We should be picking the best 4 bowlers, and then we'll work out where they bat. Obviously, we want batting lineups to have a bit of depth to it, and Broad doesn't help anymore with the way his batting's just regressed ridiculously, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But we need to be brave. We need to actually put a team out that can actually take 20 wickets. That's how you win Test matches. And it's about time the batsman just stood up. We can't keep allowing giving them a safety blanket of a long tail like with Wokes, etc. And Ali down at 8 and 9, just because the batting lineup's brittle. It's time they grew some backbone and actually scored some runs. And it's tough luck, isn't it? Players have got to score runs. That's their job as batsmen.
Yeah, it is. I can't see them picking a Dominic Bess, and the reason being he's the second choice spinner at Somerset, so he's not had the game time, and the whole thought process of him this year from the England selectors' point of view will have Leach in the England team. This guy's going to go and play most of the championship games to build on what's a decent start to the year. He got runs, he got 100, he got a 5 for MCC versus Essex, so he's very capable. But again, I'd like to see him given time. I think where you want to go with this, Rich, you want to pick the best bowler that's available for you as a spinner. So I think you want to go with Verdi in the team, don't you?
I probably will do. I mean, once we've just mopped up what's gone in the county championship, we'll dig back into it with the whole 11. But I just want them to be brave. I think that's where I'm coming from. I'm tired of England's selecting from a position of weakness or from a fear point of view.
Yeah.
Stop trying to be safe and ordinary and down the middle. Try something different. Go for the characters. Go for the guys that look like they've got the temperament. Go for the guys that have got talent. Go for the guys that have got a high ceiling. And just kind of, all in. Just chuck it on red. You know what I mean? Just let's have a go for it instead of going ordinary down the line all the time. We've got Ed Smith as the new national selector. This is a huge, huge statement selection. It's only an opening summer Test match against Pakistan. It's not of the most important thing ever. We've got India coming up. That's the focal point of the summer. Sorry, anyone from Pakistan. But that's the way it is this summer. We've got to get this selection right. There's going to be people that's going to get one last go, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But it's also a statement of how this selection is going to go, how Ed Smith sees this cricket. And, if we go to, if someone, a 40-year-old spinner or Moeen Ali comes back in, well, we know where we're going to go with it. It's going to be very ordinary and very conservative, and that's not going to win you cricket in the future. But if they go with something a little bit different, you've got to give them a bit of time. You've got to accept that they might fail a little bit, but it's going to be for the greater good going forward, isn't it? And it's England need a shake-up. Whatever we've been doing for the last year, it ain't working.
Yeah.
So we may as well do something different.
One thing we spoke about off-air before we came on was the how fragile an English spinner can be, and we saw it with Kerrigan. And we've taken people like Alistair Cook and we've thrust them into a Test match debut in India and watched him soar and become one of the greatest ever English players there's ever been. But with spinners, like Jimmy Anderson was a seamer. When we threw him in, we messed around with his action for a few years, but we threw him in because he had some talent. With spinners, we just seem to be so cautious, and I don't know whether that's because they're extra fragile and a spinner getting taken apart at the Test level can ruin the career, or it's a hard one to go. What are we trying to achieve, and why are we so scared of putting our spinners out there to be great and do something special?
Yeah, I mean, I as I say, we were talking about this before, and I think it's a case of I don't know if it's necessary. Well, it might be a little bit more that spinners they've got the potential for being dominated a little bit, haven't they, at Test level?
Yeah,
if they're off, but chucking any 20-year-old, 19-year-old kid into Test match cricket is going to be a tough one, and someone could clean them up. An opening batsman or a young batsman could get a pair. A seamer could get hit to all parts and lose his run-up. A spinner, we've seen it. Mason Crane was bowling full tosses, etc. It's a difficult thing to come into. So, but I think the way England have seen it is they've had that many bowlers that have come through where we've picked them on performance, but they've not been the right characters or temperaments. And I want that combination of all three. We need to find the fellas, no matter what they are, but especially in things like spin bowling or opening batsmen, they need to have the right temperament and character.
Yeah.
And I don't think our spinners of late, like some of the previous spinners we've played, haven't had that. So we're then looking from a more of a conservative point of view, because we've been kind of hurt by history, haven't we, with selections. But some of these young lads, if they've got the right character, if they've got the right temperament. I mean, this Verdi, again, I don't want to keep going down this line because he's not an absolute standout number one for me. But, in what I would select, there are people close to him. But it's just he looks like he absolutely thrives. He loves it. You see him celebrating. Like I say, he looks like Monty.
Yeah.
He runs around celebrating his wickets like Monty. He loves it. He loves being in the spotlight. He just looks a character to me, and I just think, get him in. Let's be brave.
No, I like your thought process. I just want to say with Moeen Ali, the last 13 Test matches, he's averaging 37 with the ball, and he averages 40 overall with the ball in Test cricket. So again, it's he's not there to be the superstar spinner, but what we're saying is we should be picking a specialist spinner and be brave with the selection.
Too right. If we're touring India or the subcontinent, let's get Moeen in as a second spinner.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Right, should we crack on with some county championship, Rob?
Yeah, let's have a look, see what's happened in round 5.
Right, then let's get underway. Last year, defending champions Essex, they played at Worcester. Obviously, Worcester without a win so far. So, Essex batting first. They posted 177 all out. England man Alistair Cook 37, youngster Dan Lawrence 20, Peter Siddle 29. So they were the guys that did most. Joe Leach again 2 for 37. He's taking plenty of wickets. The Worcestershire captain, and Josh Tong, 4 for 45. He's somebody that's starting to get a little bit of interest in the England conversation as well. So, Worcestershire first innings, 238. Good start for them. Joe Clark, 105. He's starting to get into a bit of form now. Darryl Mitchell, 41, and Brett D'Oliveira, 37 at the top. Wickets for 2 for Porter, 2 for Siddle, 2 for Harmer, and 3 for Ravi. We know who Ravi is.
Good old Ravi.
Exactly. Essex followed up 275 all out, a much improved effort, a really team effort this knock. Chopra 21 at the top, Cook 66, Wesley 26, Lawrence 71. And then we go down the order again, Foster 24, Harmer 23. So a good all-round performance there, 275. 5 for 53 for that man Tong, Josh Tong again. So he's really bowled well in this game. 3 for 72 for Leach to set up a pretty intimidating total, just over 200 for Worcester, but they fell just short. Unfortunately, Essex won this game, 32-run win, 182 all-out. Worcester were, with Travis Head 62, the top scorer. Couple of notable scores: Ed Barnard 29, Mitchell 26, but Clark he only got 2. LBW Siddle, no shame in that, and 5 wickets apiece for Harmer and Siddle. 5 for 37 for Siddle and 5 for 43 for Harmer. So great win for Essex, more difficulty for Worcester.
Yeah, the same thing for Worcester. We've said all along it's not all doom and gloom, and going this toe-to-toe with Essex like they have done, it's still not all doom and gloom. We're talking, when we speak about Mumbai Indians in the IPL, they were very close. Worcester are very, very close to being able to really compete and pick up some points at this level, but just failing at the wrong times. Just want to pick out a couple of performances here. Alistair Cook, the England opener. Is he on his last legs as an England opener? I don't know the answer to that, but he's in some decent form. Scored 84 a few games ago against Hampshire, 66 and 37 here. He's starting to tick along. Hopefully he gets his feet moving early doors. Joe Clark, England potential written all over him. Dave Bracegirdle said this man, 18 months, will be in the England setup. Back-to-back centuries in the county championship. Century against Surrey, century against Essex. In terms of the teams that you score century against, there aren't many better than that. And Josh Tong is getting a whole heap of wickets. And again, 20 years old. Played England under 19 cricket previously. 72 championship wickets now, an average of 24. And he's getting on a bit of a roll. So some good players there in England contention coming into form at the right time.
Absolutely. So on the eve of the Test match selection as well, we moved to Surrey. Surrey got a cracking win against Yorkshire, winning by an innings and 17 runs. But the first innings did not see successes for England hopeful Rory Burns at the top of the order. He only got 9. The big runs were scored by Ollie Pope batting down at number 6. He got 158 not out. Great knock from him. Dean Elgar 61, batting at 4, which is slightly odd. And then we also see a 71 for Ricky Clark, still churning them out. Wickets, 3 for 98 for Bresnan, 2 for 91 for Brooks, and 3 for 107 for Steve Patterson, who just takes wickets. So, Yorkshire, 229 all out first innings, not good enough. 95 for Johnny Bairstow, though, so it's good to see him in form. A few starts here and there, but nothing of any note. Alex Lee's first baller, opening the batting in the second over, so disappointment for him. Let's have a look at the bowling. 6 for 54, Sam Curran. Cracking effort. That's what we want to see. 2 for 81 from a bloke called Dernbach and 2 for 47 for Clark. Yorkshire following on. Didn't even make Surrey bad again. 168 all out. Disappointing again. Adam Lyth, 58 at the top of the order. And then 20s for Root, 23 for Root. Bairstow, 29. Jack Lean in 28. Wicket taker Sam Curran, 4 for 47. Got his 10th for the game. Dernbach 1. 2 for 41 for Clark, and that boy Verdi, 3 for 52 for Amar Verdi in the second innings. That's what I want. For completion, he got none for 18 off 4 overs in the first innings. Spinners, they make their money in the second innings.
They definitely do, mate. Good win for Surrey. Disappointing again for Yorkshire. Not quite sure what to do with them in the Championship at the moment. They've got some really great names. We spoke about Lyth and Lee's earlier door. They've got Steve Pujara, Root, Brooks already scored 100, Bairstow, but top 6 not quite getting it done. England-wise, Johnny Bairstow in the runs. He's got 2 50s this season from the 2 matches that he's played, sitting very pretty. Young Ollie Pope, now he's a man with bags and oodles of potential. He's got his 3rd Championship century in only 10 games that he's played. Just incredible cricketer. It's a career best for him. Could have gone and made more. Mark Stoneman, does he make the England grade? I don't know, but this season he's yet to make 50 from 7 innings. Genuine problems there. And Joe Root, he always had the problem where he can't convert 50s into 100s. Championship this year, he can't converts nons to 50. That's the problem for him.
Too right. I didn't even mention Stoneman. I just scanned over him. I apologise for that, but that probably tells you where my mind is.
Right. One more on that, Rich. I want to talk about Alex Lees, because we spoke about him in such high regard
quickly
a few years ago. But his stats this year are absolutely phenomenally bad. Okay, so he's played 2 games, 6-0-0-4, and his last 2 games last year was 11-6-4-8. So the guy's in a horrendous patch of form. Really hope that he can come out of it sometime soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully the change to white ball cricket coming up soon in the next week will do him a bit of good. Let him have a bit of a swing, because he's certainly an attacking player in that form as well. So we move to Somerset versus Hampshire. We had a drawn game here, lots of runs being scored and some important runs as well when we were talking about England. So Hampshire, first innings, again, another game with lots of people making a bit of a score. Joe Weatherly, 28 at the top, Adams, 23, the opener, James Vince, 44, no jokes, 38 for Riley Russo. With the ball, sharing it around, Lewis Gregory, 2 for 41. Grunwald, 3 for 59. That bloke off Harry Potter, isn't he? And Tom Abel, the captain, a few more wickets for him again. He's bowling well at the minute. 3 for 36 off 11 for him. So, 231. And then Somerset's first innings, 506 all out. Great effort. Matt Renshaw, 36 at the top. 33 for Davis. Is that Stephen Davis? It is, isn't it? Wicketkeeper batsman. And Craig Overton, 80. Well battered. He's certainly been reminding selectors who he is, even though, well, I won't go on to that. But the big score in this game, James Hildreth, 184. He's getting on in years now, but is he ever going to get a selection for England? The average is over 45, I believe, in his career. So, maybe he's a name that does need to be considered, and he could be a surprise inclusion. Who knows? So, moving on, Hampshire. They obviously needed to bat deep to try and set Somerset a target, but they didn't get a chance. 432 for 4 declared, but the match was drawn. Weatherly 11, Adams 11 at the top. And then this is what it's all about. I'm going to say Hashan Amla first, 107. He's just continuing this fine form. Riley Russo, 65 not out. He batted through 174 balls, so brilliant effort from him. But James Vince, dear me, this boy knows how to leave it to the last minute, doesn't he? 201 not out, 437 balls, 28 boundaries.
Brilliant.
Incredible knock. Just all admin done. 2 for 60 for Lewis Gregory and 2 for 61 for Grunwald. James Vince, we'll talk about it when we go into the selection, but I mean, this is last minute stuff. This is absolute we said to him, go and score some runs, didn't we?
Yeah.
If he wants that selection, go and show us, and can't fault him. 201 not out.
Yeah, superb knock. Just what the doctor orders. The guy's still got question marks about his technique, about his temperament, and then he goes and bangs out 200, and he turns around to the selectors and says, I am bloody ready for the start of this summer. So huge congratulations to them. Hashim Amla is great as he can be. Craig Overton's one I want to pick out here, because Overton played in New Zealand. He played that test match, 1 for 70 over in New Zealand. Highly thought of. Got England out of a bit of trouble. We got 33 not out that day when they got rolled out for 58. Played a couple of Ashes tests. Didn't set the world alight. And he's definitely not setting the world alight this summer. Only 1 wicket this match, 1 wicket the match before, 5 the match before that, 3 the match before that. So very, very average numbers by Craig Overton. And I think when you're talking to people about England selection, he's kind of just drifting away from the conversation. James Hildreth, huge fan of his for so many years as a cricketer. Great to see him get big runs when there is an outside chance that he could make an England call-up. I don't think it will be this test match, but you never know this season what can happen. He just needs to keep banging out runs, and he has banged out his second first-class century of the season, and actually his third century in the last 5 first-class games.
Yeah, he's not necessarily, obviously he's not a long-term answer, but he might just be somebody that's a bit of a sticking plaster just whilst you're waiting for the likes of Joe Clark and Harry Brook from Yorkshire to maybe be ready for Test match cricket. So he's certainly someone to keep an eye on. So, right, league leaders Nottinghamshire. This is the last of the 4 games in the First Division. Not a good game for Nottinghamshire. Batted first, 133 all out. More woe in the top order, 34 for Libby, he hung around, but Mulaney 3 and Nash 16. Sami Patel second top score, 27 run out, and then Broad 20, so poor performance from Notts in the first innings. 2 for 27 off 15 for Jimmy A, he's ready for Test match. 3 for 22 for Graham Onions, and 3 for 28 for Tom Bailey. So good performance from Lancashire. They followed that up with a bat as well. Really good all-round performance from Lancashire in this Test match. 338 all out. England hopeful Keaton Jennings, he's putting a marker down, 126 he got before Stuart Broad cleaned him up. Class on class there. So he's starting to score some runs at the right time. Alex Davis, a young lad, he got 50 as well. Hasib Hamid was recalled, a 13-ball duck batting at number 3. Liam Livingstone as well, he seems to have just vanished from thinking, well, certainly my thinking anyway for the England Test side. He only scored 8 at number 4. Chandler 23, Villas 20 on the back of his 200-odd, and Clark 40. So a really good all-round performance, 3 for 8 all out. 2 for 101 for Jake Ball, so, off 19 overs, so a good spell for him. 4 for 41 off 20 overs for Stuart Broad. 2 for 41 for Fletch off 14. Gurney and Mulaney at a wicket apiece. So, second innings, not obviously long way to go in this one. Didn't even make Lancashire bat again. 138 all out. Libby 46, a really gritty knock for him, but all around him were ducks. Mulaney, Nash, Taylor, all getting ducks. Patel 16, Vessels 35, and nothing else to talk about there. 4 for 26 of 18 for Anderson, and a brilliant 6 for 55 off 17.4 for Graham Onions. Convincing Lancashire win, innings in 67. Notts go again, but they are still top of the table.
Yeah, good win for Lancashire. First win of the season for them. We've said all along what a team they've got, and this is the first time we've really seen it fire with the ball. How good is it? Anderson and Onions. That's an ex-England opening partnership at the top of the order. England watch, Keaton Jennings coming into form at the right time. He's got back-to-back games where he scored back-to-back hundreds. Surely that's got to be the guy to take over from Mark Stoneman after what was an iffy start, but he's starting to settle into things now. Hasib Hamid, he can't score runs opening the batting. Well, he can't score any runs batting at 3 either. So his list of runs this season go 5-3, 19, 8-1, 4-0. The guy's a walking phone book and a walking wicket. Stuart Broad, absolutely superb. Class, 4 for 41 off 20 is superb numbers. 6 wickets last game, 4 wickets this game. He's in good form going into the start of the season. And Liam Livingstone, it seems a long time that fans were calling out for Liam Livingstone to be the saviour of the middle order from England. He's having a shocker to the start of the season. 9-12, 33-23, 48, 6-8. The guy hasn't got a half century all season, won't be in contention.
Absolutely. So let's have a look at the table then. And as we said, Notts are top. 1-3, lost 2. So they need to learn how to draw a couple of these games when they're struggling. 70 points. Somerset in second on 63, played 4. Surrey played 4 as well on 61. So those both teams have got a game in hand on Notts, so could easily overcome the knots at the top. Essex played 5.56 in fourth. Yorkshire 52 played 5. Lancashire played 5.51. Hampshire again played 5.48. They both them and Lancashire have only just registered the 1 win apiece, and then Worcester still to register a win. They've lost 4, drawn the 1 in 5 games, 25 points, rock bottom. That's where we are.
Yeah. So. Not a lot between these teams. Top 6 or 7 teams, there's not a great deal between them. Where the rubber hits the road is when the England players go off and then the next set of players come into the team, because some of them are being carried by a couple of England players. Interesting to see how they go, but knots at the top, that is purely down to that bowling unit doing absolutely incredible things. Winning a game of cricket in 2 days, winning a game of cricket in 3 days. That is why they're top of the league. My worry for Nottinghamshire is that top 6, can they score consistent runs when the wickets flatten out? That's where we may see them start to struggle.
Yeah, change to white ball may have done the world of good. Start getting some runs flowing, especially people like Mulaney. Chris Nash, obviously, he's frustrated with his early season form for Nottinghamshire, but he's an experienced fella, so I'm sure he'll come good. But they just need to take the handbrake off a little bit of that top order. So, right, and let's dig into what's happened in Division 2.
Division 2.
We start with Warwickshire hosting Northamptonshire. Top of the table, Warwickshire, they recorded another win, a convincing 6-wicket win over the struggling Northants. So Northants in the first innings, they posted 256 all out. 19 for Proctor at the top of the order, 29 for Cobb, 92 for Crook. Stephen Crook, good knock for him, the ex-Lancastrian. And Bracewell, 81 as well, Doug Bracewell. So the lower middle order digging them out there. Warwickshire's first innings, 265, so pretty much par after first innings. 61 for Ian Bell, 78 for Tim Ambrose, and a 50 down the order for Henry Brooks. With the ball, Doug Bracewell continued his good game, 4 for 71, and Crook 4 for 51. So both of those boys on real good form in this game. Northant's second innings, this is where potentially just dropped off a bit, 187 all out. Difficult game this really. I mean, the teams matched each other it seems, but Ben Duckett, a name from the past, 38, Cobb 30, 29 for Keogh. That's pretty much all we've got. 5 for 49 though, Ollie Stone back in the wickets, top effort from him, and 3 for 58 for Chris Wright. Deceptively sharp bowler. Warwickshire's second innings, they knocked the runs off, 180 for 4 to win by those 6 wickets, thanks largely to young Will Rhodes at the very top of the order. 100 not out, 165 balls. It was seen over the line by the help of young Matthew Lamb as well, 23 not out. Another win for Warwickshire, they march on.
Yeah, solid Warwickshire team. Northamptonshire really down in the dumps at the moment. Seems a long time we talked about Ben Duckett as an England cricketer. 4 test matches to his name, only averaged 15. Last game coming all the way back in 2016. He's having a really, really rough start to the season. Not gone on and made past 38. That's his highest score of the season. Young Ollie Stone, we've spoken about him a couple of times. He got that incredible 8 for 80 all the way back on the 13th of April against Sussex. Since then, he played a second 11 game, got 4 for 18, and he's come back into the team here, got 7 wickets in the game with 5 wickets. But Will Rhodes, and I think Will Rhodes was an ex-England under-19 captain, he got 100 not out. And I was looking at him, actually, specifically looking at him earlier this week going, man, he hasn't done much this year, has he? And then he goes and bangs 100 not out. He's almost up to 1,000 first-class runs. Average is only 27, but he's a young lad and he's a multifaceted player. He's been a bowler, he's been a batsman. And I think what you're really looking at now is someone who's trying to craft his arts and get himself in that opener mentality.
Yeah, okay. On to Lords then. Middlesex hosting Gloucestershire. Match drawn in this one, but it was certainly England watch here. Ex-England opener Sam Robson, 36, but Nick Gubbins, he'll be hoping he gets a call this afternoon. 99. So disappointed not to get his century, but 99 of 138. Good time. He's in form. Dawid Malan as well. He's got himself in a bit of form before the test opener, 76. Owen Morgan, some fella, might have heard of him before, 76 as well. And good contribution from the bottom 4. 32, 24, 27, 25. That's a good tail. Sorry, from 7, 8, 9 and 10 anyway. Tom Helm, one of those. So 3 for 73 for the Aussie Dan Worrell, 2 for 116 for Matt Taylor, 2 for 85 for Craig Miles. So Gloucestershire, 210 all out in the first innings. Joe Dent, 66 at the top. A few starts here and there. Benny Howell, 47. 47 for him. Okay, with the ball, Steve Finn, 154. Tom Helm, he was somebody that could be in the England conversation in the not-too-distant future, 3 for 48. And Hilton Hamilton Cartwright, 4 for 33 with the ball. He's doing a good job there as well. So, Gloucestershire following on. 326 for 4, not enough to get the game moved on, and that was match drawn. So 125 not out for James Bracey batting at number 4, and 46 not out for Graham van Buren. What can you say? Match drawn, not much to write home about in this one, but good to see a couple of England lads looking like they've hit a bit of form, and Gubbins certainly trying to do all he can to get his call up.
Yeah, definitely. Good for him. He got 100 in the last game. Against Sussex and 99 in this game. It looks better if you get 100. But incredibly, these two knocks, if you put that with the last 2 times he's batted, was the 116 and 109 versus the North versus South game, in which case he scored over 99 in his last 4 games in his incredible form. So you never know if there's going to be a call-up around the corner. You just don't know. Milan definitely needed some runs. He's definitely just dripped off after the T20 campaign in New Zealand. Didn't get many runs in the test match. This is his first 50 of the season to get him going. Steve Finn back into the attack. First game since he was playing for Islamabad United in the PSL. He's played 1 second team game since then. Pretty average outing for him. And James Bracey, second century of the season for the young 21-year-old. Averages 45 from 13 first-class games.
Lots of young players starting to get themselves known. So, right, let's move it on again to Grace Road. We are joining Leicestershire, who hosted Glamorgan. Again, Leicestershire, congrats. This is a great win for them. A close win as well, won by 3 runs. So, Leicestershire, first innings, 191 all out, really held together in that middle order by Neil Dexter. He scoring 87. A few starts here and there. But no one else. Callum Parkinson, 30. Wickets for Van der Gugten, 2 for 42. 3 for 41 for their captain Hogan. 3 for 56 for Marchant de Lang. So Glamorgan, first innings, 178. So not far off Leicestershire at this point. Lots and lots of starts. Nick Selman, 40. 32 Murphy. Just lots of teams here. I'm not going to go into those. 2 for 38 wickets for Ben Rain. 4 for 65 for Varun Aaron, 2 for 27 for Griffiths, and 2 for 35 for Neil Dexter, carrying on his good form in the game. Leicestershire, money innings, 237 all out, Carberry 20, Paul Horton 50, 22 for Ackerman, 33 for Cosgrove. Ackerman, top scorer at the moment in Division 2, by the way. 65 for Ben Rain down the order, a massively important knock for him. 5 for 61 for Michael Hogan, the captain. He just keeps taking wickets. And 3 for 65, for Martin DeLang again in the wicket. So set it up for a good chase. Glamorgan needed 250 to win. 247 all out. Incredible effort from Leicestershire. 4 for 44 for Ben Rain, 2 for 66 for Varun Aaron, 3 for 51 for Griffiths. Great effort. Great effort as well for Glamorgan. 34 at the top of the order for Jack Murphy, 39 for Chris Cook, the wicketkeeper batsman, and Marchant DeLang. He's had himself a great game, 90 batting down at number 9 off just 45 balls, Rob, 5 fours and 8 sixes. They went for it. Great effort from Glamorgan, but well done Leicestershire. They hung on to the win.
Yeah, heartbreaking, really, isn't it, to lose by that? That's such a small margin in cricket, but that is what can make cricket great. And it doesn't matter how long the format is, 4 days, 5 days. When you get something that goes 5 days down to the last few balls, it makes it something special. The anticipation, the build, it's like a great movie that has got a payoff at the end. So, huge effort by Marchant DeLang. We spoke about him before, the ex-South African guy. Rapid with the ball. He's having a decent season with the ball, picking up loads and loads of wickets. But this was just carnage. He was hitting the ball to all different parts and doing very, very well. Neil Dexter, just a great surname in English cricket is the Neil Dexter name. He's older than I remember. He's 44 years old, but he's in form. Oh. He's got 3 or 4 50s this season already, and he's starting to put in back-to-back performances well over the last 2 games, doing very well. And Ben Rain getting a bag load of wickets, 172 in his career for him now, 29 average. England, no, he's going to be a county journeyman, but a very, very good one at that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we move on to Canterbury, where Kent hosted Sussex, the Spitfire ground, Rob. Kent batted first, 215 all out, 60 for Heino Kuhn batting at 3, Denley 26 batting a little bit low. Do you know what? I think I've given another Denley a name check of a Joe Denley. It's Joe Denley here, isn't it? He got 26.
Yeah.
31 for Haggett and 31 down the order for Stewart. Wickets shared around. Ishant Sharma 3 for 62, 3 for 51 for Oliver Robinson, and David Weiser 4 for 54. Sussex 181 all out, so a deficit going into the second innings for them. Wright 35, Luke Wright obviously that is, 30 for Ben Brown, he just keeps chipping away with those sort of scores. Burgess 54, Michael Burgess, and 28 for Weiser as well, another good performance. Matt Henry can't stop taking wickets, 4 for 69, and 2 wickets apiece for Harry Podmore, 2 for 48 and 2 for 6 off 2 overs for Haggett. Callum Haggett. There you go, Rob. Now we know who he is. Kent second innings, 2-3-5. Pretty consistent, but solid as well. Not much to talk about for Bell Drummond in this game. 2 in the second innings to go with a score of 13 in the first. So the scores, though, 47 for Heino Kuhn, Denley 26, Crawley 24, 24 for Podmore not out, and Matt Henry 55. Good lad. Wickets again, Ishant Sharma 4 for 52 and Oliver Robinson 4 for 70, Weiser 2 for 59. So same wicket takers, and Weiser 8 for the game there for him. No, it's 6 for the game, and Ishant Sharma 7 for the game. So again, Sussex on the chase, as in the similar last game. Could they do it? No, nowhere near. 211 all out. Kent win by 58 runs. Van Zyl 38, 47 for Luke Wright, Ben Brown 48. Again, keeps scoring those sort of runs. But Henry, again, 10 wickets in the game, 6 for 53 for the Kiwi, 2 for 39 for Thomas, and a wicket apiece for Haggett and Podmore. A solid win for Sussex, gets them up to third place. Kent there in second place, that was a big win.
Yeah, big win for Kent. Very, very happy with that. Couple of guys I want to touch on. Matt Henry is just having an absolute MVP-style season. 37 wickets at an average of 9. 37 wickets at an average of 9 in 8 innings. The stats are absolutely mind-blowing. The guy's picking up 9 wickets a game. He's got 2 tenfers in 4 games, 3 fifers. It's a very, very special time for Matt Henry. Ishant Sharma's doing very well this season. Good to see him over here. Another Indian getting warmed up for the summer. 15 wickets at an average of 23, and this is by far his best outing, minus that incredible 50 that he got wagging down the order. Daniel Bell Drummond, one of your favourites, he's having a tough time of this season. He started off okay, he got 61 and a 45 not out. Since then, he's gone on to record 1, 19, 36, 13 and 2. Big score has got to be around the corner for that young man.
Absolutely. So let's go. Last game to get through, Derby. We're at the County Ground, Derbyshire. They hosted Durham, match drawn in this one, but some good performances. Wayne Madsen 85, Slater 55, Rees 48. 61 for Godliman, 64 for Critchley, 45 not out for Smith. Lots of people making runs in the 427 for Derbyshire. The bowling, there's 8 bowlers used. It looks like a testimonial game bowling lineup here. I can't go into it, but wickets all round, let's just put it that way. Durham first innings, 520 all out, so lots of runs being scored in this game. The notable ones in the middle order with Stuart Pointer, the wicket-keeper batsman, 170 of 206 balls. Great effort from him. And Michael Richardson, 115. 63 for Graham Clark as well, batting at 4. So a good all-round performance. The 2 openers, Max Steele, is it Max Steele, 31, and Aidan Markram, or is it at 30? Cameron Steele, but I want to call him Max Steele. I feel like that was a film. That should be his name. 4 for 80, 4 for 87 for Palladino, and a couple of apiece for Olivier and Villiers. So Derbyshire second innings, 2-7-9 for 9, but not enough time in the game to force a proper result. Match drawn. So Derbyshire, again, lots and lots of scores, but nobody really going on for a big one in this innings. 42 for Slater, 32 for Madsen, 25 Godliman, 40 for Critchley, Smith 34, 26 not out for Palladino, 6 for 46 for Mark Wood. Just in time. He's got off his plane from India, he's dusted himself off, sorted his jet lag out, and he's took 6 wickets. That's probably going to be enough if I've got half an idea of what the selectors are going to be looking at.
Yeah, definitely. There's a theme going on here. The weather has increased in England. There's better sunshine, there's better wickets being produced, and all of a sudden there's a hell of a lot of more match drawn in 4 days. If I ever see it go down to 3 games, I'm getting a divorce from cricket altogether. It should always be a 4-game system, if not more. Big shout out to Stuart Pointer, the guy very, very unlucky to miss out on the Ireland Test team. He plays one-day international cricket in T20 for them. Wasn't needed, goes out, scores 170 in a first-class game. No better way to stick it to the guy than by doing that. So well done to him. And Mark Wood, we said this was a really, really big game for him. He's been playing in the IPL. He's given up that opportunity of a warm-up, getting ready for England versus Pakistan and India. And he's come in and he's performed from day one. So I doff my hat to thee. You have earned your spot in that first Test sunshine.
Well, we'll see about that, but I think in the selector's eyes he probably has. So let's have a quick look at the table then. Warwickshire top of the league, 76 after 4 games. Brilliant start for them. 1-3, drawn 1, the only unbeaten side. Kent in second after 4 games, 61. Sussex 5, played 554. Then we have a middle order of 4, 5 and 6 of Derbyshire, Middlesex and Leicestershire. Good for Derbyshire and Leicestershire. They're doing well this year. Don't take that as a patronising comment. They just have been down at the bottom the last couple of years, so it's really good to see. And we've talked them up a bit in the pre-season, so it's good to see them performing. Then we have Gloucestershire and Durham on 37. Glamorgan in 9th place on 35. Tough loss, obviously, in this round. And Northamptonshire propping everyone up, yet to win a game, 15 points at the bottom from 4. So that's the County Championship in the books. Next week, we are on to the one-day cup. We have 50-over cricket coming. The red ball's going to be put away for a little while. Anyone that's after some runs, this will do them the world of good. Get swinging that bat. And let's see what happens next week. So, Rob, squad announcement, 3 o'clock today. The England selectors have been locked in a room for probably the last fortnight, watching games, talking about cricket. Surely they won't be swayed by what's happening on the final day of a couple of county championship games. Surely it'll be the body of work over the last couple of months, if not longer.
Yeah, of course it will, mate. I think what the England selectors have probably got, they know the team that they want to pick, and I think in an ideal world they'll have Moeen Ali in great form and available for them, and they were very comfortable with that depth of batting lineup. But I think they're pretty much... I'd be surprised if there's anything that makes you go, ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, let's get into it. I mean, what I think it'll be, this team might just ring a couple of bells with you. I think it's going to be Cook and Stoneman opening. I think it'll be Vince at 3, Root at 4, Milan at 5, Stokes 6, Bairstow, your keeper batsman at 7, Moeen Ali, Stuart Broad, Mark Wood and Jimmy Anderson.
Sounds familiar.
Does that sound familiar? It probably is, because it's the last bloody Test sides they were putting out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's where they'll go. I think Leach would have been in. But I think Moeen Ali, I don't know how they can pick Moeen Ali, but I just have a feeling they will. But maybe they won't. Maybe they will actually be turning the page on the selection and actually going, do you know what? We need a bit of a fresh start. We don't need to rip everything up, but we just need to reassess. So do you want me to roll off where I think they should go?
Yeah. Give me your team selector.
Right, first off, I just want to put it out there. I want Joe Root to bat at number 3. But for whatever reason, he does not want to bat at 3. So in my team, I've got him at 4, but I'd rather see him at 3, and that does affect things how I select. But I would go Cook, and if I'm batting Root at 4, I would go Cook and Gubbins opening the batting, and I'd put Keaton Jennings at number 3. Joe Root at number 4. Milan keeps his place, but I think he's comfortable at 5. Bairstow, I would move up at 6, and I'll just swap here both Stokes and Bairstow. So Stokes bats at 7. So that's my batting, really. Bowling is the tail starts getting a little bit long here, because the way I've got it, I would have Broad batting at 8, and then I have a toss-up between Jamie Porter of Essex and Jake Ball of Nottinghamshire batting at 9, with Amar Verdi and Jimmy Anderson battling for number 11. That's my team. Just want to throw one thing before chuck it to you, Rob. If Joe Root bats at 3... then I would change it to Cook opening with either Jennings or Gubbins.
Yeah.
Root at 3. Milan jumps up to 4. I would have Joe Clark at 5 from Worcester. Bairstow at 6. Stokes at 7. Broad, Porter or Ball. Verdi and Anderson. So a slight change, all depending on whether Root plays or not.
Okay. I can't disagree with what you think they're going to pick that much. The team I've got down, and I've got a few slashes going on here with a few options. I've got Cook at 1, which is just a given when you pick an England team. And then I've got Jennings, Stoneman or Gubbins. I think they are going to drop Stoneman, and I think they're going to go with Jennings because he scored back-to-back hundreds, and it's the right time to put him into that team. Stoneman's woefully out of form. I think it was no score above 50 for the last 7 innings or whatever it was. Let's just call a spade a spade. Let's move on. Jennings is in form. England for so many years didn't pick the guy in form. Jennings is in form. He scored 100 at test level. He failed over the course of the series against a very good South African team, to be fair. Let's give him another go. I feel he's ready. Number 3. Now, I don't want to do this. I had Hildreth, Root, and Vince as my 3 and 4. What I think they're going to do, I think they're going to go with James Vince at 3 and Root at 4. And you can't fault, or I can't fault James Vince for scoring a double 100 and saying, no, I am a number 3. Yeah. Give me one more go in that England team. If he hadn't scored those runs, I would not have his name down on this bit of paper right here.
No, that's fair enough. That is fair enough. Vince, for me, though, I mean, there are options now at number 3. If Root bats, if Root went up to 3, you could move Vince down to 5. I think it'd suit him better down there.
Yep.
I've jumped in a little bit, but just one point, just to bring up. I think it was Nick Compton that mentioned it. If Alistair Cook's in this England side, now I don't know why he's worded it in that way, because there is certainly not enough openers banging the door down enough to say we need to drop Alistair Cook. That's the least of our worries at the moment. But if Alistair Cook is in the team, he said he should bat at 3. So that means you could bat him at 3, and then you could open, for example, with Gubbins and Jennings.
Yep.
And then that suddenly solves that number 3, doesn't it? And I'd rather have Cook at 3 than Vince.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one, that is. So anyway, you carry on with your team, Rob. Where are we again? So we've got Cook opening with Jennings. We've got Vince at 3.
Vince at 3, Root at 4. Before this week, I had Root at 3 and Hildreth at 4. That was my thinking.
Okay.
Then I've got Milan, same as you. Bairstow up to 6. Ben Stokes just needs to get out. He's not a top 6 batsman. He's out of form. He's had almost a year out of some decent cricket. Just let the guy bat at 7 and give it a bit of a swing. Don't put pressure on him. Just let him turn up, enjoy his cricket.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've got Broad. Ooh. Then this is where, again, I've got a few slashes. Until this week, I had Jake Ball as my seamer, and I was dropping Mark Wood. Mark Wood's come back and got 6 wickets. The England selectors will pick Mark Wood 100% for this game. Yeah, so he's getting the nod. Then here, this is where I had my other slashes. I had Leach / Salisbury / Kerrigan / Batty.
Eddie Hemmings.
Eddie Hemmings. Get them all back in. And you know what? I'm still not 100% sure on who is going to be the spinner. I would like to see them pick Verdi. I don't think they will. I think they'll go with... I think they'll go with young Parkinson, just for a little bit more experience. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't want to pick him. And that's not nothing against him. It's just we're limited on options, and he's the most experienced of the next cab off the ranks that are on the way.
Just jumping on you there. I mean, let's be clear. I mean, when I'm saying I don't want them to go ordinary and all the rest of it, I don't mean that the other options like the Parkinson, etc., are ordinary. I'm talking about the other options.
Yes.
The 40-year-old spinners, all the rest of it. I would be more than happy. It would be an equally brave decision if they selected Matt Parkinson.
Yes.
Or even Dominic Best to a point. I think Best would be a little bit conservative thinking because of his batting.
Yeah.
And that's why he would be in. It wouldn't be because they're convinced he's the best of the 3 young spinners. I'd like Verdi in, but if Parkinson got in, I'd be equally as happy. But I just think Verdi's got that little bit extra, little bit of sauce, you know what I mean? Just he's got something about him that's going to excel.
Yeah. It's something the fans would get behind, a bit of passion. Everyone likes to see a bit of passion in the team. And talking about passion and trendsetters and fashion icons, I've got Jimmy Anderson with his bleach blonde, grey hair.
Horrific.
At 11.
Horrific. Jimmy, I'd drop him just for that hairdo at the minute, mate. I'm sorry. He's not in my team. I'm going with 10.
You're going with 10. Sorry we couldn't get 11 this week, lads. We've all been there.
Yeah, Jimmy's lost the plot.
Dear.
So it's going to be interesting, isn't it? The fear as English cricket fans is that they're going to go very ordinary with the selection. My hope is that they go a little bit more exciting. I think it's probably going to be somewhere in between the two. I don't think there'll be as many changes in the batting lineup as I've predicted. I imagine Stokes and Bairstow will remain at 6 and 7 in that order. But I think we both understand why we want to move those two around. I think Bairstow's an exceptional player. I don't want him any higher than that at the moment whilst he's keeping wicket. Other players that could have had a shout, Rory Burns of Surrey, James Hildreth obviously of Somerset. I would say Joe Clark of Worcester. He's there or thereabouts, isn't he? He's not far away. If he misses out, Gubbins or Jennings, one of those two, will be somewhere there or thereabouts as well. So
there's one other option here, Rich, that we've not tabled just yet.
Oof.
And it's using Joe Root as a passive spinner.
Go four seamers.
And go with four seamers, where you bring in a Jake Ball or someone like that. So you go with a four-pronged attack.
My only concern with that is we've already got Stokes, and Stokes is bowling again now.
Correct.
So we've got five seamers.
Yeah.
You know what? Why not? But I just want England to start backing a spinner and using a spinner in home test matches, because when we play abroad, we need a spinner either for control or for wicket taking, or second innings, obviously the attacking option. We just need to understand and learn how to win games of cricket abroad, and I just think we need to maybe just change the way we pick our teams in England to make sure that we are better set up for when we do play abroad, because we know now how difficult it is to win tests abroad. It's easy, relatively easy in your own country, if we can use that word, but I want to see that spinner. I want us to see us build around a spinner in that bowling attack.
Yeah, the other spinner that's just come to mind, that's played a bit of international cricket, he's played a bit of test cricket, in fact his last test cricket was last year, is Liam Dawson.
Oh, good call, good call. Now, he was retired hurt, or he had an injury in the recent game against Nottinghamshire? So I'm not sure what his health situation is. But yeah, that is somebody we have missed out. But again, more of a limited overs player. I think he wants to play longer format, but I'm not quite sure if he's done quite enough yet. But he is of more experienced age, and he can bat, and he's been around the setup. So again, it would not surprise me in the slightest if he gets a call up.
Yeah, he's not having a great season with the ball, but he's a multifaceted player. He gives them a bit of depth, a bit of confidence around what they're going to do with the team. So it's hard to predict. I don't think this is going to be anything that shocks us. I think it'll be by pretty much the same team that we've been used to, that unfortunately has failed quite a lot. I just really, really would like them to go with Keaton Jennings, and until a month ago I would never have said that, but I think Stoneman's in that bad a form. He's failed for England. He's not done enough to go. He's a test match opener. Let's give Jennings a go. Yeah,
I'm sure they'd like to give more players one last opportunity, but it is a new selection setup. So you know what? This is the time. This is the time to kind of rip it off and just say, we're moving on from one or two for now. And if they go and perform again, then fine, we'll get them back in. But if it was the old selection setup, then I'd understand them staying exactly as they were to try and back their own selections. But it's not, is it? Be brave, make a bold decision. Let's see. 3:00 today. Like I say, this is the us putting our names into an envelope, and let's see what happens.
It is great stuff, Rich. Great stuff. Before we go, I just want to give a massive, massive shout out to 100 Twitter followers, 100 YouTube subscribers, and 400 followers on Facebook. Absolutely stellar week for the podcast, Rich. Well done. Raise your bat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm happy about that. It was an inside edge, Chinese cut for one down to fine leg. Nearly cleaned us up, but we got there.
But no, it's absolutely superb. We're seeing great growth on the podcast at the moment, particularly around Apple. It's hard to get the subscriber number from there, but it's not too far off where we are on YouTube at the moment, guys. So if you haven't, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Apple or Android. It's available on all of those. Follow us on the Leading Edge podcast on Facebook, as well as Leading Edge Pod on Twitter, guys. It's been absolutely extraordinary. Great stuff, Rich, going through all the cricket news, all the county championship, and putting the selectors hat on. It's been great fun. Anything else from yourself?
Yeah, just a little one, really. Just thank you to a few people out there who are following us on Twitter and whatnot, who have actually started sharing the story about my little cousin Liam Andrews. So hashtag love for little Liam. So keep sharing it. Find yourself some Twitter bloke, some royalty on Twitter that's got a couple of million people following. See if we can get him to retweet the Just Giving. We need everybody's help. We need to raise as much money as possible. So I'm going to be banging on about this for the foreseeable future, because obviously time isn't something that we've got on our side with the little man. So anything you can do to help, all appreciated. And thanks so far.
No, brilliant, Rich. It's a really, really worthy cause. So thank you to the community that we're trying to build. That was one of the objectives and goals of this podcast, was to build a cricket community from all different areas of the world. And we're doing that. We've got people from 16 different countries subscribing to us on YouTube. That's a cricket community from around the world. And it's great to see so many of you guys helping out Rich and little Liam at his real time of need. It's a real horrendous thing that's going on. So anything you can do, sharing, retweeting, donating, whatever's possible, it's much appreciated, guys. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you for Rich. Thank you to you guys. See you next time.